What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rob's house. So it's a couple weeks later after taking delivery of my Viper, and just wanted to give you guys a little bit of update and a little bit of a story time. So first of all, I did my first mod on the car. I put this Boss audio head unit on it because the 6-disc changer wasn't really doing it too well for me. Put a little microphone in here for Bluetooth calling, and got the car registered, of course, paid my taxes, and got a little backup camera installed in here. So it's a little more of a modern feel now. New tires on the car. I got some Michelin Pilot Super Sports. The tires that were on the car were actually stamped from, the fronts were from 08, the rears were from 09. So pretty dangerous. Didn't want to be driving on that. I have some coilovers on the way, which will be our first real mod. I don't really kind of count the head unit because it's such a simple thing, but I mean, it does have Apple CarPlay now and a backup camera, which is nice. Once we get the coilovers on, I'll get an alignment, and then this car will be good to go for me to start cruising around in. So far, I've only driven it locally, but I found this pretty amusing. I thought that my fuel gauge was broken because of how quickly I ran through a tank of gas in this car. It's not broken. And this car gets impressively terrible gas mileage in the city. So I've only driven it locally so far because, like I said, those tires were super old. I did not want to push them. I definitely wasn't taking this to the Dragon or any kind of driving like that with the tires being as old as they were. But I kind of putzed around and, you know, ran some errands with it and stuff just because I wanted to take it out. So all of the driving that I've done so far has been city driving. I've done a couple of little pulls, but nothing, like I said, old tires, so I didn't go crazy or anything. And when I say a couple, I literally mean like maybe 5, but like 3 or 4. The car averaged 5.75 miles to the gallon. I can't even believe that it's possible, but that it is not a fuel efficient vehicle. You definitely don't, I mean, look, you can daily drive your Viper, but just budget for fuel because, I mean, like, wow, you're gonna run. I thought the Corvette was bad. Corvette's pretty bad. The Corvette, I think now with the big cam and everything, we get about 9 city, but I usually average about 15, 16-ish in this car because most of my driving is at the gap where we're moving at not high speeds, but higher speeds, not quite highway speeds, let's say, but like, let's say we'll average like 50 miles an hour, right? So we're getting close to the highway fuel economy, but not quite because of course we're driving in a little more of a spirited manner and stuff. It's not the most fuel efficient way to drive. I have hypermiled it, the Corvette, a little bit since I got the cam, and that car, I believe if I remember correctly, I was getting like 18 or 19 highway, which is, you know, bad, but I mean, stock, the Z06 only gets like 24 or 25. So I haven't lost that much fuel economy considering how much horsepower I've gained over the factory setup. And the fact that there's no more displacement on demand, there's no more variable valve timing, there's a big cam in it, there's, you know, we pulleyed the supercharger, so we're pushing more boost, which means that we need more fuel to compensate, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So all things considered, I mean, it's, you know, it's still a performance car. You don't buy them for the gas mileage, but man, 5.75, ladies and gentlemen, 5.75. Unbelievable. Now, I will probably hypermile this car now, because now I'm just curious. So, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. But if you want to see me hypermile the Viper, I will do a video. I will hypermile my Viper and tell you guys what the fuel economy is like. Remember, it does have a Paxton supercharger on it, so I would expect that my fuel economy is a little bit worse than a stock Viper, because again, with boost, you're compensating. But then again, I'm not really getting into boost when I'm driving like this, so maybe not. Maybe it is still pretty bad. I did read Doug DeMuro's blog when he hypermiled his 97 Viper GTS, and he got 5.6 city. So I think I'm right on the mark there. And he got about 18 highway, so I'll see if I can get 18 highway or if I can do better or worse than he does. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Moving forward to today's story time / the title of this video, my brother's reaction to my Viper. Now, why is this of any consequence? My brother Paul, when we were kids, right, when I first got into cars, as I told you guys in the last video, this was the car that got me into cars, the Dodge Viper, specifically the Gen 3, which I am now a proud owner of. And my brother said to me, because we were teenagers, I was about 15, he was about 13, he said, "You'll never make enough money to afford one of those, you know, you're never, come on, you're not gonna actually own one." I said, I'm gonna own one of those someday I'm gonna buy one of those. And he said, "No, you won't." I said, "How much you wanna bet?" So he said, $50. Okay, listen, 50 bucks for a 13-year-old is, you know, not an insignificant amount of money like we would think of as adults now, right? I said, 50 bucks. I said, you're on. We shook on it. And he said, a couple days later, he came back and said, I thought about the bet. Now, I'm not backing out, but I do want to place a cutoff on it, 40 years old. And he was like, because, you know, in theory, I've set myself up for failure here. You could be like 80 and just be like, well, whatever, I'm gonna die soon anyway. I'll just blow my life savings on a Viper just so I win that bet. He's 13, right? Like, you know, okay, what? Maybe not the most sound logic, but sure, okay. I'm like, all right, you got it. 50 bucks, I will own a Dodge Viper before I am 40 years old. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am 31 years old as of today, as of buying this Viper. In fact. So, Paul loses the bet. Now, over the years, there have been references to this in passing. He was surprised when I bought the Corvette. He said, wow, I can't believe you bought a Corvette. I really thought now you would have bought a Viper. You know what I mean? You always wanted a Viper. And I said, well, you know, the Gen 5s are pretty expensive and the Corvette's a better bang for your buck. And, you know, especially performance per dollar with the way the Corvette market was at the time. The market's insane right now, but when I bought this car, it wasn't like that. So, the Gen 5 Vipers were not as pricey as they are now, but they were still pricey, where the Corvette had, basically the Gen 5 Viper hadn't depreciated at all. You would pay around MSRP, but for a used car, it's higher than that now. You'll pay way over what their original MSRP was, versus the Corvette depreciated like a normal car, right? So I ended up with the Corvette. I love the Corvette. Like I said in the last video, Corvette's not going anywhere. And frankly, I kind of hate to admit this, but I really am more of a Corvette guy now. Like I really fell in love with my C6 and I've really fallen in love with this. I mean, this car is just amazing. It's an unbelievable car. So, you know, all of that said, the Viper, it's still nostalgic. I love it. I'm super happy with it, but it's more of a nostalgia factor, right? It's very raw. It feels like a race car. You know, it's not the most comfortable car in the entire world. Doesn't have the, you know, it's an older car, doesn't have all the creature comforts that the Corvette has, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just cool, you know, it's raw. I mean, the hood is just like, I thought the Corvette hood was big, but Jesus, I mean, like, this is just unreal. Like, it gets horrible gas, but it's like a meme car, you know, like it's ridiculous. Everything about it is impractical, which is what makes it great. I'm very fortunate. I feel very lucky that I'm able to afford both of these cars, so I don't have to choose between them. So, and that's the best part, is I have all three American sports cars that I knew and loved when I was growing up. Obviously the Viper got me into cars, but of course I fell in love with all cars after that. I still had an appreciation for Corvettes and Mustangs. And I just think it's really cool that I'm able to, you know, be in a position where I can have all of them and I don't have to choose between them, which is, it's really a childhood dream come true. Anyway, without further ado, the whole point of this video is for you guys to see Paul's reaction. I FaceTimed him earlier. So here is my brother Paul's unscripted, unedited. He didn't even know that I was gonna show him a car. I told him that I rearranged the garage. Anyway, check it out. Here's Paul's reaction to the Viper. I rearranged my garage. I was like, Paul would be proud of this.
Is there a gym in there?
No, not exactly, but here, I'll show you.
Not exactly? Like a little?
Huh? So, all right, here you go. All right, so we got everything along this wall now.
Yeah.
And then my workbench on the door by, like, to go inside with the Corvette. And also, you owe me 50 bucks.
What the fuck?
It's a 04 with 36,000 miles, and it's a Mamba, so it has this black and red interior. They only made 200 of these. Well, hold on, ready? Right, hold on. Here's part of the reason why it was such a good deal. You don't even have to know anything about cars to grasp this.
Does it have NOS?
It does not have NOS.
I can't believe this happened so soon. Oh my God.
That's a supercharger. Guess the fuel economy in the city.
8.
8? Good guess. 5.75.
Daily driver, huh?
Daily driver, yeah, 100%. So just so you know, I had to get your reaction to top off the video about the Viper when I put it on the channel. I had to get your reaction because I was like, Paul has owed... I told the story. I bet you 50 bucks when we were teenagers, and I was like, I'm gonna FaceTime him. I'm gonna get the reaction.
I do. A deal's a deal. I owe you $50.
I want a crisp $50 bill that I can frame and use as a garage decoration.
That's fair. I'll make it happen.
Well, there you have it. He had no idea. I literally called him out of the blue. I said, hey, how you doing? I haven't FaceTimed with you in a while. You know, he lives up in New Jersey. I live in Tennessee. So I was like, you know, I just hadn't talked to him in a while. So I was like, hey, I just wanted to call, chat, see how you're doing. Actually, I rearranged my garage. I think you'll appreciate this. And now I set him up for this because he had been telling me, oh, you need to rearrange your garage so you can fit workout equipment and, you know, have weight. And I go to the gym, but he was like, you could have a home gym and then you don't have to go anywhere and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, you don't have to pay gym fees and this, that, and you know, whatever. And I used to have a home gym in grad school when I lived with some of my friends. We had a little home gym set up and it was great. So anyway, we had talked about that when he came and visited and saw my house and everything. And so I kind of set it up and he thought I was gonna pan over from the Corvette and show him workout equipment. He had no idea that there was gonna be a Viper sitting here, especially because I just got the Corvette last year. It was the last thought on his mind that I had bought another car. Of course, I told him the whole story of, you know, how it popped up, how I found it, and how that whole transaction took place and stuff. So anyway, off camera, he congratulated me and we caught up and talked for a while, and really looking forward to giving him a ride in it. Maybe next time he comes down and visits, I'll actually take him for a ride in the car and I'll film it for you guys. We can get his sort of unfiltered reaction to actually riding in the car. He's actually never been in the Vette either, so I could make a video out of it where I get a reaction of him riding in both of the cars. He's been in the Mustang, but I wasn't really like giving it the beans or anything when he was in it. He's been in like a handful of fast car, or I would say like quick cars. He's never been in anything like this. That might make for a good video. Maybe we'll do that next time he comes down. I'll do some filming with him if he's up for it. Obviously, you know, I try to respect everyone's privacy if he doesn't want to appear in videos. I did tell him that I'm putting him in this video, and he was okay with that. So shout out to Paul. Thank you for the reaction. That was priceless, my dude. Couldn't have planned this one better. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell as usual. I hope this video was entertaining, and I'll see you guys next time.